In the past few days, we've had meetings with two separate people, both Paraguayan business people, and we've been speaking to them about various issues, challenges and things that we're working on. What was really interesting is that there was a consistent theme that I noticed, and that was that whenever we were asking about a particular thing that we needed to get sorted or something that we were trying to achieve, both of these people would say things along the lines of, I think I might know someone that can help with that, or I have a friend that might be able to assist with this particular issue. And at one point, one of these people that we were speaking to looked at us and smiled and said, Paraguay is a country of friends. And this is something that you hear quite often here in Paraguay. You hear it quite often, but I think that there's a tendency for us as Westerners to perhaps have a dim understanding of what that truly means. And at times, as Westerners, we also tend to have a bit of a resistance to that notion because it's kind of a foreign concept to an extent to what we're used to. From the places that we've once called home, generally there's been one accepted way of getting something done. So I think we get into the mindset that that's the way it should be. And it's not uncommon that I will meet people who have come from other countries who can struggle with that concept. This country and many other countries operate along those lines, and you've just got to get used to it. It's not going to change because of us. And it got me thinking about a book that I'm reading at the moment about a community that arrived here in the 1890s from a place where I once called home. They came here with the intention of setting up a utopian society and living happily ever after. Unfortunately, not all went to plan, and for many of them, they weren't able to make the transition. And what's really fascinating is that when you read the story, it seems that there were certain aspects of their attitude and what they brought that disabled them from being able to make the transition to a new country. For a good portion of those people, it seemed that when they came, they immediately took on an attitude of arrogance, superiority. They thought that they were better than everybody else. They congregated in their own group. They wouldn't really integrate with locals. So in a very short space of time, they'd really isolated themselves. And it created a situation of hive mind and an echo chamber. And it seemed to have kind of sent them a bit crazy in a fairly short space of time. Before you knew it, those people had fallen over and they were gone. They had to go back to the place that they'd been trying to get away from. It didn't work for them. It seemed also amongst that group of people, they were quick to take offence, they were quick to take issue with others, everything revolved around them, and that everyone else was here just to serve them and make sure that they were okay. Clearly, that spirit didn't work for them, and I don't think it would work for anyone else. And then there were others amongst the group that appointed themselves as gurus. They were the only ones that were to have a say in what was going on in the community. They knew best. After being here for no time, they were the ultimate authority on all things Paraguay. And what I find interesting is that since being in Paraguay and looking at people coming here, to be totally frank, I still see the same elements at work today. It's an unpleasant reality, but the truth is that human nature hasn't changed all that much. I do see people that arrive here who carry those sort of attitudes with them. If something doesn't go right for them, it's got to be somebody else's fault. If somebody's tried the best for them but something hasn't worked, off with their head. This spirit of offence, division and strife, unfortunately, it's something that we still see here today. We have not evolved much from the 1890s. It is just part of human nature and it wouldn't come as any great surprise. But I think what's really important is that we really take stock of this because we're not in the 1890s. When we look at the realities of today, we should be really reminded that we can't take anything for granted. And if we do decide to make this move, we better make it work because I think the stakes are higher now. You're not living in a time where the opportunities are unlimited and the options are endless. Paraguay, for many, is the last stop. This is where we've got to make it work. So I think we really need to spend some extra time really checking our attitude. I believe that the most important currency that you can invest in when you arrive to a new country is relationships. For some people, they have a sense of security when they come to a place like Paraguay because they have some offshore form of income. It might be a pension or investments or whatever way that they're getting by. But what it can result in is that some people can take that to be like a ironclad sense of security where, hey, I'm okay, I've got whatever coming in. I don't really need to invest all that much in the currency of friendship or relationship. But I think we live in a time where having a sense of security about such an arrangement is probably a really shaky foundation on which to base your plan on. I think that ultimately we may be in a situation where when all else has gone by the wayside, it will be relationships that will really be the most valuable thing to us. And so we loop back to the initial point, and that is Paraguay is a country of friendships. When I think about that, it really does make me revisit my own set of priorities. And it also reminds me to ensure that I'm properly investing in those relationships, that I'm not burning them, looking down or disregarding people, because I think there might be coming a day where to make such decisions will be a real folly, and we'll wish that we had proceeded in another way. Time will tell. We don't have a crystal ball, but I think that there might be some clues as to where things are headed. I'm glad that I'm in Paraguay. I'm glad that I've got some brilliant relationships with some amazing people here. And I think that anyone that comes here with an open mind, without a chip on their shoulder, without a notion that everybody owes them, without bringing the spirit of division and off with their head if things don't go their way, if people can come without those sets of issues, without that baggage, then anyone can come here, integrate, make some really great friends and get on with their lives. And just as a footnote to that story about the community that came out, some may say that it was a failure because their initial vision didn't come to pass, and their initial vision was quite exclusive and elitist. It didn't work. But what did work was that a number of them actually stayed, they made friendships with the locals, they integrated, they ended up having families, and there's a whole community of them here now, which I'm going to cover in a future video. So I think in some ways it was a success story. They evolved, they didn't fail. I think there's a lesson there for all of us, because this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And we can come here for a short period of time, buy a flash car, live in a flash house and think that we're sorted because we've got something coming from afar, because we're sitting on a nest egg or we're getting a pension or whatever. But things can change. And I just urge anyone out there that's thinking about doing what we've done to really spend some time just working on that currency that I believe is the most valuable relationships, friendships. I think any investment in that will bring you back greater dividends than gold, Bitcoin, or some pension that you might be sitting on. But who knows? Just my opinion as always. So until next time, take care. Ciao.